This sculptor the forms of the infinite, the screen unrecognized inhabitant, initiate of his own veiled mysteries, hides in a small dumb seed his cosmic thought. It needs a sculptor's eye to see a statue in the block of Carrara marble. It needs a sculptor's eye to see a temple in the rocks of the mountain. It needs the sculptor's eye to see Ellora caves in the mountains, standing there waiting for him to carve them out. It is an image in a granite stone which has already been carved out by him in his imagination. It is that which he will execute and bring it in the form of a physical reality. Behind that mass of nothingness, that block of stone, that block of marble, behind that mass of nothingness sits the infinite, waiting to take form, waiting to assume feature and quality and body. Remaining hidden, he is present in the ideas that can run through the spaces of cosmic mind. He is immortal in the mortal. He is a potter shaping pots. He is a dweller in the house who yet continues to be the unknown, unknown to the members of the family. He is a mystery wrapped in a mystery. He is a qualified practitioner of the rites and rituals. He practices all those rites and rituals, practices appropriate to the mysteries and ceremonies. He is the initiate. He is the dikshita. He is the recognized conductor of the prescribed sacred or occult or esoteric procedures of worship. In the esoteric institutions or disciplines, the rites are kept secret from non-believers or beginners until they are ready, until they are initiated by the seniors who are well versed in those practices, in those disciplines, in those worships, in the performance of those rites. The existence of God or Trinity or virgin birth or resurrection can be made known only by revelation. It cannot be taught through mental logic, reasoning. It can be made known only by revelation. And one who has to develop that capacity, it is he alone who can receive that revelation. Mystery will always remain hidden in God. That mystery will always remain hidden in God unless it is revealed by God Himself. How can this be taught to anyone? That is a wrong expectation that the mystery can be taught, communicated to somebody apart from the one who knows it. Even after revealing the secret of the Veda would remain a sealed secret. It is only by spiritual realization that the secret of the Veda can be known. In the Upanishad, 6 disciples went to the Rishi and prayed to him to impart Brahmajnana, the knowledge of the eternal. The knowledge of the eternal, that is what they yearned from the Rishi. And the Rishi in turn asked them to practice austerities for one more year, for one more year to practice strict austerities, follow strict discipline, follow strict spiritual practices. Then only would be given to them Brahmajnana to the extent possible. Such minimum preparation is essential to come to the grade of receiving this knowledge, this secret knowledge, this esoteric knowledge, the knowledge of the mysteries. There is no instantaneous formula, there is no quick fix to impart knowledge, there is no eat and run formula in this world. There is no instantaneous formula regarding these esoteric matters, these mysteries. They have to be done, practiced over long periods of time, assiduously, with full concentration, with full focus, with full commitment. We promote religious sacraments in that spirit. Then only the sacraments assume the true significance in our life. But really speaking, they belong to the class of practicing mysteries. We are not really in a position to follow the practices required to go along with these mysteries. Vow of secrecy is a basic stipulation, and it is there. That stipulation is there, not for nothing. It is an important stipulation. The vow of secrecy. Even if you have the fundamental realizations of the spirit, spiritual realizations, siddhi, it is necessary, at least for quite some time to come, to keep all those realizations to yourself, not to reveal them to anybody except to your teacher, to your preceptor, to the Guru. It is necessary to keep them secret. Nothing is brisk, nothing is neck break, nothing is expeditious, nothing free, nothing can be obtained before reaching a certain stage of preparation. There has to be the capacity to hold what would come. There has to be the adhara, the necessary support, the luminous support to hold those realizations. One has to be a drita. One has to have dharana shakti, the power to hold all those realizations in one's soul and in one's being. That makes the journey long. It is a journey that goes on for days and days, for years and years, that involves a long preparation. It is an extended, tireless growth to reach the goal. Pashupati has already reached that stage at the very beginning of his yogic pursuit. He has already reached that stage. He has attained the necessary benchmark for stepping into the room, into the inner room, into the sanctum sanctorum of the spirit, where the secrets are disclosed. The Eleusinian mysteries are an open book to him. They are open revelations to Ashwapati. The initiates often experienced in vision the congruity of the beginning and the end of birth and death. Up to 3,000 people were initiated each year. Among those underwent the rite were Aristotle, Sophocles, Plato, Cicero, and a number of Roman emperors such as Hadrian, and Marcus Aurelius. This was in the ancient Western culture. The initiates often experience the vision of the congruity for the beginning and the end. The celebration of the mysteries began in the autumn with 4 days of rites and festivities in Athens. On the fifth day, a solemn procession to Eleusis began, during which rites, sacrifices, and purifications took place. On the sixth night, cloaked in secrecy, the climax of the Eleusinian mystery or the Eleusinian ceremony took place in the inner sanctum of the temple, into which only priests and initiates could enter. Om is a manifestation. Om is a manifestation. The Mahashakti comes forth from the Supreme for creation. All is created by the Supreme Goddess. The Supreme and original Mahashakti. All proceed from her. All lives by her. All lives in her, even as she lives in all. All wisdom and knowledge are her wisdom and knowledge. All power is power. All will and force her will and force. All action is her action. All movement, her movement. All beings are portions of her power of existence. All beings are portions of her power of existence. It is Ananda in the ultimate realization. It is Ananda that unifies Sat and Chit, that unifies being and consciousness force, that unifies existence and force, that unifies the soul and nature. Ananda, he is unifier of these two aspects of Sat and Chit.